case of Julian Assange gets more bizarre by the hour. Tonight, the Australian man at the heart of an international security uproar is being held in a British prison on a Swedish charge of rape. Whether there is a link between Mr. Assange's WikiLeaks activities and that arrest warrant is the source of much speculation. What we do know for sure is that he is fighting extradition charges to Sweden, and his site is continuing to release leaked American cables. The plot thickens, and the BBC's Frank Gardner has the latest.
Get back! Get back!
A media scrum this afternoon as the elusive WikiLeaks founder was brought to court in Westminster. Julian Assange is accused of sex crimes in Sweden, which he denies. The judge has refused him bail, pending extradition.
I believe that Mr. Assange could safely have been released today. The judge took a different view, but it was clear that it was a close call in his mind, and he's of course asked now to see the evidence that's against him so he can assess the strength of these allegations, which we believe to be very thin indeed.
The case is headline news in Sweden, where two women from Stockholm and a nearby town have brought allegations of rape and sexual molestation against Mr. Assange during a visit he made to Sweden in August. Allegations the Swedish prosecutor initially dismissed. Today, his supporters offer to raise bail. They suspect political motives.
I'm here because I believe this is about the principle of the universal right of freedom of information and our right to be told the truth.
The Swedish prosecutor is adamant. This case, she says, is about alleged sex crimes. It has nothing to do with WikiLeaks. Well, maybe not in law, but Julian Assange is the front man for an organization that's released thousands of classified files America says threaten its security. He has effectively become the US government's undeclared public enemy. Visiting Afghanistan today, the US Defense Secretary was told of Mr. Assange's arrest.
I hadn't heard that, but that sounds like good news to me.
Washington is clearly desperate to stem the flow of leaked documents, but the WikiLeaks founder has yet to be charged with breaking any US law. WikiLeaks is coming under mounting pressure. From PayPal to Visa to MasterCard, some major finance companies have stopped processing donations to the site, and some internet servers are refusing to host the website. And tonight, Julian Assange is spending his first night behind bars, remanded in custody in Wandsworth Jail, pending a full extradition hearing. His lawyer says they'll reapply for bail. But whichever way this case goes, we haven't heard the last from WikiLeaks. The flow of leaked classified cables is set to continue. Frank Gardner, BBC News.
And while Julian Assange faces his own troubles, the documents he has unleashed on the world have undoubtedly caused fallout for the US government. For more on that, we can speak now to Assistant Secretary of US Secretary of State, PJ Crowley, who joins us from New York. PJ, thanks very much for joining us. So there we have Assange. He's in a British prison. He's wanted by the Swedes who are trying to extradite him. Where does the US stand in this legal mess?
This is a matter between Britain and Sweden. He was arrested, I presume, based on the Interpol warrant, so the United States is not involved in this case at this point.
Is he somebody you'd like to get hold of, to question?
Well, we are investigating, obviously, first and foremost, someone within the United States government has committed a crime under U.S. law. We are investigating that, and we're going to let the facts lead us to see if anybody else was involved. So we've reached no judgment yet.
But Mr. Assange himself, is he somebody that the U.S. government would like to question, and under what charges? Or under what basis?
Well, we'd like to see him return stolen property to the United States. He's in possession of 250,000 classified documents, and that is an extension of a crime that has been committed in this country. So we did petition him to return the stolen property to us, and unfortunately he's declined.
Okay, he has vowed to carry on with his WikiLeaks activities, and even today, while he was in a court in London, of course, there were more documents released. How serious has the fallout from this been? I've spoken to US diplomats around the world who have told me that they're spending 100% of their times on WikiLeaks.
Well, in our view, this has caused substantial damage, not just to United States interests, but to global interests. He's undermining the system by which countries cooperate and try to solve global challenges. We're going to work through this, and we're confident that over time we can rebuild the trust that perhaps has been lost here, but it will take some time.
PJ, the Secretary herself has said that people who have helped the U.S. government around the world have been put at risk by the release of these classified documents. Do you actually have any evidence of a specific incident where a person has been harmed because of what's come out from WikiLeaks?
Well, Kathy, we're still fairly early in this process, but that is one of our major concerns. We do rely on government officials around the world and civil society activists around the world to give us their best perspective on global events, particularly in authoritarian societies. The fact that these people have given us valuable information can put their careers or even their lives at risk. We have reached out to as many sources as we can. We have told them of our concerns and our willingness to help protect them if that becomes necessary. We are aware of some people who are at this point at risk. We haven't necessarily taken any action at this point.
Because of the WikiLeaks information, you mean? Specifically because of the WikiLeaks information?
Yes.
And some of the earlier ones, though, came out several months ago on Iraq, those cables. You haven't heard of anyone in particular who's been affected by those?
I can't say, but that's probably a better judgment for the Department of Defense, not the Department of State. But we certainly recognize that in the short term there's going to be impact here. Countries that have been candid with us in the past may withhold information, and that has potential consequences because we just saw recently where it was information in the hands of foreign governments that helped us collectively intercept this plot involving packages on commercial and passenger aircraft. So it's very, very important, and that's why we believe that there has been serious damage caused by what Mr. Assange has done.
Okay, PJ Crowley joining us from New York. Thank you very much for all the latest there.
Thanks, Kathy.